Welcome back for another episode of CEO Connections. I'm so excited to be with you tonight. I'm looking forward to having a lot of people joining in. And if this is your first time joining in, you are definitely in for a treat. So, we're going to dive right into that. But before we do this, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a little brief commercial about what you can expect if this is your first time showing up for this segment, and then I'll give you all the details. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So you know what we're all about, people planning and processes when you tune into my channel. Tonight we're going to focus on the people, but we have a very special segment tonight, and it's called CEO Connections. And what we do is we bring to you CEOs who are doing the darn thing when it comes to small business and when it comes to implementing strategy in their business, because we want to not only talk about strategy, but we want to show you what it looks like in the business and show you what it has done for businesses from actual CEOs that are actually doing it, because we know that makes a difference, right? When you see someone doing it and they're executing on the things that you hear me talk about when it comes to planning people and processes, then the goal is for you to walk away and say, you know what, I need to get on my game and I need to execute. So today I am bringing to you a wonderful guest that is a dear friend, but is a mover and shaker in the community of Cincinnati, Ohio, and beyond. Before I bring her up to the virtual stage, I'm going to provide you with a bio so you know a little bit about her. But before I do that, I don't want to forget. I want to engage with you. If there are any questions that you have during this segment, I want you to please put them in the comments. We want this to be interactive because this is where the answers are going to come from. Okay. So don't be shy, communicate, let us know, and we'll get what we can address to you. And if this is your first time joining us, I want you to put hashtag newbie. Let me know the city and state that you are tuning in from, and then put hashtag OG if you are someone that has joined me in the past. And I have an OG coming in right now, Jabaka Melvin. Hey. All right. So again, we want this to be engaging. So let's get started. Let me introduce to you my guest for this segment of CEO Connections. So I'm bringing to the stage Apryl M. She's a certified financial planner. Let me read her bio to you. Apryl is a former Peace Corps volunteer, mother of three active sons, a wife, business owner of two businesses, and former high school math teacher. With so much going on in life, she knows exactly how easy it is to forget about saving for retirement or just putting it off until later. This is why she loves her role of helping women-owned and nonprofit businesses design a simple and effective retirement plan for themselves and or employees to save. Small business owners, we need to definitely talk about retirement. You can do it, and she's going to show you how. She does this as an advisor on the plans that she manages, but also speaks to small business owners about how they can enhance their current plan or start a plan if you don't have one or if you don't think you can. She's going to show you how. So let me bring to the stage right now, Apryl. Hey, Apryl.
Hey, Sonia. Thank you. Good to see you on here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for tuning in and being my guest. I know we're going to drop a lot of gems today. I'm super excited. So I know I introduced you with the bio. I'm so ready to get into this. So first of all, if there's anything that I left out about what you do as a certified financial planner, just give the guests and our CEOs an overview of what you do, because there's a huge question mark about retirement, entrepreneurship. So shed some light on how you help our small business owners out there.
Okay, well, thank you. Yes, you did a great job. That's really, as a certified financial planner, I like to think of myself kind of like the quarterback for folks' finances. So, Like you said, I do have 3 active sons. They play 4 sports. So I'm like always on a field or in a gym. So either I'm the quarterback or the point guard or the pitcher, whatever it is. I don't know which sport we're in, what season I'm in, but right now I'm in football season. So as a financial planner, really, if everybody has dreams and goals, and why are we doing this? We want to live and have fun and spend time with our families and live now. Like, so our goal as planners is to take exactly what you want to do and help you use all your resources that you have or don't have and are still building to get to those goals. So I always tell people, I can't tell you what to do with your money if I don't know what you want to do with your life. So we figure out what you want to do and then help you use all of your resources to get there and just put a plan together for you.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So doing that, what type of small business owners do you deal with? Is there a particular type as far as do they have to come to you already organized? What? Let's talk about who could come see you. Who can you help?
Oh my gosh. Well, if I waited for business owners like myself to be organized, I wouldn't have anybody because none of us are. We're all a mess. Anybody that runs a business, I mean, we shouldn't be a mess. You know, we get it together. But you know what it is. Like you start that business, those first 3-5 years, you're everything. When you're the chief bottle washer, like you're doing every single thing. So it's hard to be, you know, have every single part of your business in order. I mean, not everybody's probably hired you yet to get all their systems together. So they're probably still out here looking a mess like I was. But I think it's not for as far as who would it be, any small business. What we focus on is those that are getting, I don't want to say left behind, but there's a lot of folks that have a barber shop, a daycare center, they're realtors. Let's see, they have a few side hustles while they're still working. They're doing property management, just whatever you can imagine. They're doing these small businesses, and like the big Fortune 500 companies are not coming to their small basement salon to help them start the retirement plan. It's just not happening. And so what we're focusing on, those folks, which is us, that's us. You know, 1 person, 2 person, doesn't matter. That's who needs a plan, not only just because you need to retire. Yeah, that's all fun and dandy, but these taxes are real. So anybody running a business understands, and if you're, depending on how you're paying yourself, you're not doing W-2 wages, like you get that bill at the end of the year and you're like, oh, that's how this works. So retirement plan helps you reduce that tax bill. So we want to make sure everybody, that's why the wealthy have, not why, but one of the ways that the wealthy use businesses, putting money away that's going to be tax-free or tax sheltered, I should say, for themselves.
So we can be like them. We just need you in our lives to make that happen, right?
Hey, let's go.
It's possible. I love it. It's possible. So we're going to dig in a little bit more about your retirement, what you do for small business owners to get them set up. But we want to take a step back. I want to know the story about how you became an entrepreneur, because you were a math teacher for quite some time. So talk to us about what was it that was the moment where you said, you know what? I want to take the leap.
Oh man. And I don't even know if I decided to take the leap or if my husband pushed me off the ledge. But when I was teaching full-time, yes, I was teaching full-time high school math teacher. And in the evenings, I was volunteering and teaching financial peace classes to adults and the parents that were in the community of the school where I was teaching. And I just fell in love with it. And did, long story short, we did the whole get out of debt, do your savings. We did the full baby steps and got ourselves together. And I just started teaching folks about it and I loved it. So I started, like most of us do, my side hustle. So I worked during the day. Not only was I teaching, I was also a varsity basketball coach. So I'm in the building from 7 to 7, right? And then on the weekends and when I had time, I would coach individual families on getting their finances organized and helping them and I wasn't offering in any investments. I wasn't an advisor. I was a coach. Okay. So I was just telling them, okay, yeah, now you need to do this. You need to start this investment. You need to get this type of insurance. Now go get it. Figure it out on your own. And after so many people were like, why can't you just do that part for us? Like, we trust you. You know everything we need, but you're not offering. I'm like, I don't have time. Like, I have so much going on. And so it was at that point when I just got to the point where I didn't have the people that I needed to refer people to as well. And so I was like having to screen all these people and make sure they're doing the right thing. And it's like, oh my gosh, let me just get my license and do the whole job and help folks. And so I was doing that part-time still, even as I got my license. And that's when Kenny, I was telling him, I'm like, yeah, still coaching, still doing this, running the business. He's like, why don't you just stop working? I'm like, what? I'm not ready yet. Like, it was not, maybe a year and a half in. I mean, it wasn't long, maybe 2 years. I don't know if it was 2 years. And he's like, you can't give it your all. You're sitting around here doing everything. So if you really focus on this, then it'll probably take off. So I'm like, but I'm leaving a salary. Like, they put into my 401k. Like, I don't want to leave my benefits. I mean, fortunately, I was able to do it because he works and has benefits, healthcare benefits. That's a big thing for us as business owners is you got to have somebody that has benefits or it's pretty expensive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I just jumped. I was, I think, 2017. I started the business in 2015. I think I finished teaching around 2017.
Wow. So you were operating as a part-time, it was operating as a part-time hustle for 2 years before you said, you know what, I'm cutting ties and I'm going full-time. So you turned full-time because you identified a need or your clients identified a need, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you weren't thinking about going full-time until the need was being repeatedly brought to your attention from your clients?
Yeah, I think it was in my mind. I always I didn't know anything about running a business. Most of us that are entrepreneurs, we start it's a passion we have. So we're really good at what we do. That does not mean we know how to run a business. And there's a whole book on that, but it's not knowing that. It was like, I know I'm good at helping people get their stuff together. I know I'm good at planning. I know I'm good at all of that. Like, there's no question there. And I have this passion and stuff, but I'm like, but then I have to bring in my own, I only eat if I bring in business, and then setting up systems and emails and all this stuff. And it was kind of like, let me just keep doing this on the side where it's not, it's like, if I just play it small and keep it small, it's still feeding my desire to help people. It was still bringing in income, but it seemed scary to start a whole company. Okay. What? So
yes.
But then I'm like, after you get in it, it's kind of like, okay, you figure it out as you go along. So which most of us do. Most of us don't have those skills.
So what did you do for those CEOs that are in that position right now? You said you didn't know how to run a business and now you're running 2 of them, and we'll get to that. What were some of those things that you can share that you did so that you could learn how to run a successful business?
Oh my gosh. One of the best things I did, I hired a coach when I first started. And I don't know how I found her. She's out in the state of Washington or something. I found her somewhere online, and I was like, I remember having a discovery call, and I was a coach myself, so I understood the coaching thing. And I worked with her, and I remember her telling me, she had me do, some exercises, and then had me figure out how much money I was not bringing in each month or each year because I wasn't, I didn't have my systems. I wasn't efficient. I didn't have my systems in place, and what was my strategy, all this kind of stuff. So she wrote that number down, I got that number and multiplied it by 5. Basically, if you keep limping around for the next 5 years, this is your opportunity cost. No, you need to get this together. So she was also good with mindset and just helping me with the confidence and attracting positive things and manifesting. So it was this great coach that I connected with. I don't even think she does it anymore. She's spun into full on blown spiritual retreats now. She does all kinds of cool stuff, but hiring a coach was really good. I read everything. I read everything I get my hands on, running a business, how to run a business. I took courses online, but I spent time learning and figuring out how I work, what works best for me, figuring out what other people are doing. But that coach was probably a big turning point.
Okay. So, and let me know if you can go into this, but you use the word opportunity cost. That is something that she helped you identify so you could decide whether you could keep limping along, as you said, or moving on. So can you talk to the CEOs about what an opportunity cost is to maybe get them thinking?
Yes, it's like what you're losing out on that you could have. And so a lot of times, even when people talk about saving or paying off debt or whatever, it's like, okay, so if I'm using all my income to pay all of these bills, the opportunity cost is how much I could have been making in the market. So they're like, oh, it's just a small car payment. It's only $300 a month. That's not that big of a deal. It's really not. You're right. It's not that big of a deal, but the opportunity cost is what you could be putting $300 a month into your Roth IRA or into whatever it is that you're investing in. If you were doing that and you're getting market returns, you just lost all that money. So that's the opportunity cost, what you give up for whatever it is that you're doing.
Okay, that was an eye opener for you, it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah.
And you were a math teacher, so you didn't even think to do that for yourself. That's why you hired a coach, right?
Yeah, I'm just like out here. I'm a math teacher, that's my brain, but I was coaching and helping and I was doing my craft. I wasn't running my business.
Gotcha.
So when you get into that and you're just and you get busy and as you know, the reason we spin into going to our own business, we're good at what we do.
Yep.
So when you're good at what you do, people flock. And then you're super busy. And then you're like, what? Oh, okay. Somebody else? Hold on. Wait. I'm not ready.
So coaches need coaches. We hear that all
Yes.
the time because you can't see what you need because you're helping others and you're just doing. So you need to step back and bring someone else in. So what was it about that coach that made you say, I want to hire her? Because there's so many people that claim to be coaches and great at things. But what were some of those aha moments where you said, you know what, this is the person for me?
She was very specific and focused on like the financial industry, if you will. So it was relatable. She wasn't about necessarily coaching advisors, but she had a money mindset course. And not that I didn't take the course, but that's like what she did in her business, even, like with her coaching and everything, fit with what I was trying to do. So I did interview and look through a lot of, and there's so many coaches, there's so many. It's a thriving business right now. But I could definitely connect with her, an instant connection. And I felt kind of like the same thing I described when I described you, like you're a fairy flying around your office thinking of things that we're not thinking of. That's how I felt with her. She was like things that I literally was like, are you looking in here? She's like, what are you doing about this? What are you doing? I'm like, she's like, you probably have a pile right there and you have 17 post-it notes over there on everything that I'm like, you sure you're not in love? Like, how do you tell me? I'm like, she's a psychic. But when you do the same thing, your client, she knew who her ideal client was. So she knew exactly what my pain points were. And she told me exactly what they were, and they were on point.
So relatable, specific, and focused is what I love. Those words that you use. So you found someone specific in what you needed at the time that helped you, and you had a connection with them. So, okay, sounds good. I love it. So hopefully this is helping the CEOs out there that are like, how do you pick a coach? So, and now, how did you find her though? Were you just Googling? Was she a referral? Like,
she was, I think I may have found her just scrolling through. I was scrolling through either LinkedIn or Facebook or something. And it wasn't a post that she posted. It was something else I was reading that she had responded to, and I loved her. I was like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. And then I just clicked around and kept clicking and got to her, and then ended up on her, sales page or whatever it was. So she was posting on somebody else's group or chat or thing or something, and then I found my way back to her.
Oh, I love that. So CEO, she said LinkedIn, she saw what someone else had posted, and then this person responded, which triggered her to begin to dig deeper into that person. So CEOs, if LinkedIn is where you are, it's about looking and reading and digging a little bit deeper. So definitely use LinkedIn not only to, post yourself, but to pursue others that you think that you may need. I love it. So you said you got a coach. So a coach said, let me get you together and you need to understand those opportunity costs. You start reading. So what was the next step that you said, okay, now I'm in this thing. I've taken the leap. What was the next step? that you needed to take in your business to say, okay, I need more? What was that trigger point and what was that for you?
That I needed more. Let's see, after I got that, I started getting organized. I started going out into like networking. And so I joined the Chamber of Commerce. I went out to the Minority Business Assistance Center, looked at all the resources and stuff that were available, because I knew there were things out there. When I transitioned into going full time, now I had the time to do these things.
Yes.
So I wasn't at school from 7 to 7. So I could go to the meetups and the lunch and learns, and I was going to all of that. So I was really taking my time to meet people and do and the free resources, right? Because you're still starting. So I'm like, I paid for my coat, and I'm a budget. I have a budget. So that was in my budget, and that was it. So I wasn't paying for anything else. I was done. So I was like, okay, what else can I do and get some good stuff? So the chamber was huge for me, the African American Chamber of Commerce. Okay. I did a lot of information and sessions and worked with their Minority Business Assistance Center. So they helped me, like she was getting my business together, but that was like, okay, making sure your LLC and how you're filing your taxes. And I found me a CPA. So I made sure I was doing all that right. Everybody has to have a good accountant or CPA.
Yes.
They're working.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Right? Okay, so first of all, I put Javaka on the screen. She said, being strategic to find your coach, loves it. And I am a strong proponent of that too. And I did that in my journey. I found a coach in the area that I needed help. Not a coach that said they specialize in all of these things. But what is that thing that they are an expert in? So I'm glad that you definitely found one in that, because I found one in how to make money, right? A profit coach, believe it or not. I had an empowerment coach, because when I left corporate America, let me tell you, I went through, they say workplace trauma, been through some of that. So I needed to get that confidence and empowerment back. And then I went from there. So I'm glad you said that. Now, you said networking. So I want to remind CEOs, networking, the Chamber of Commerce, and then the African American. So it's two, right? And they have fees, right? But you found that to be important for your business so that you could get more business. Okay.
Yeah.
Love that. Now, an accountant. Now, let's dispel the myth that you have to wait till you're making a certain amount of money before you get an accountant. What are some of the reasons that we can share to dispel that myth for people who are just waiting and think they need to do it at a certain point instead of right out the gate?
Oh my gosh, a good CPA or accountant, depending, and I want to say those separately, because CPAs, depending on how they are, a lot of them offer the advice, like they're actually advising, and maybe accountants do. Whatever, it doesn't matter what the title is. Get to somebody that's going to actually help you plan out. So if they're just doing taxes and bookkeeping, that's one thing. Like, that's great. You can do that. That's awesome. If that's what you need, that's what you need. But early on, someone who's helping make sure your business structure is set up right. I'm an LLC. When should I pay myself W-2 wages? Should I be a 1099? Like, what should I be doing? And they're the ones, when you go early, you get it all set up right. So you don't have to come late. And then what's happening, what I hear a lot is, they show up, the first time they show up is when they have a $50,000 tax bill. And so they're not like, fix it. Oh, please help me fix it by April, And so if you're doing your business and you're growing, you're going to grow to that pretty quickly. So it's better to just start out right, make sure your books are right, making sure, and it's not, taxes I think is a small part of it, but it's the QuickBooks to make sure your expenses are set up right. Are you using, your accounts correctly? Are you tracking everything to stay on budget? Like, they're actually helping. Mine helps with all of that.
Yes, ours does.
Ours, I know, and I hate it because we can't even refer because he's not even thinking.
I know. CEOs, we have the same accountant, and she's the bomb. So I'm just like,
yes. Yes. I do have another one now that actually is open and taking clients, and it's phenomenal as well. So,
yes. We're going to be in contact so we can share that information. So setup is key to plan, because I love talking about planning. Don't wait till you get the bill at the end of the year, entrepreneurs. Get in front of it. Something that I did as well. I want to know what I need to be planning for, because I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. And I'm trying to avoid a tax bill. So you said the CPA helps you plan it out. Is that what you said? The CPA helps you plan it.
Yes, like planning your taxes and your expenses and your strategy, kind of like how you should do things.
Okay, got it. And then there was another. You said CPA, and then you said there are two different things: CPA and
So not everyone necessarily, not all accountants are CPAs, and kind of like advisors. I mean, there's so many words and things out there. Like a CPA is actually a certified public accountant, like kind of like a CFP, a certified financial planner. And so all CPAs, can do accounting, but accounting just aren't necessarily a CPA. I think it's most important just not necessarily you have to find a CPA, find someone that is doing what you need. So if you have an accountant who can do bookkeeping and accounting and taxes and help you plan out your tax, that's great. That is exactly what you need. So I don't want to say they're not really interchangeable, and they do very similar things. But if you see a CPA, don't assume what they do. If you see accountant, don't assume what they do. Check out what services they offer, because sometimes it might, if it's just taxes, and that's all. And there are some that's literally all they do, and that's great because that's all that some folks need. So it's just like the coach. Find what you need and make sure when you're interviewing professionals, because this is somebody you want to work with your team. When you're interviewing professionals, make sure you let them know what you're looking for, and then see if they do all of it, because somebody out there will help you with everything.
Awesome. And knowing the difference, I think, is good. I'm glad you prefaced that all accountants aren't CPAs. Because I think when you don't know, you just assume they are, and you don't want to get into a situation where you think they do everything and they don't, and you are missing some important information as far as some tax savings or some forecasting and planning. So thanks for sharing that. And again, anyone that is on, if you have any questions, definitely put them in the chat box. But I love, so accounting, bookkeeping, and taxes. To me, those are the three categories, right? Know what you need. Now, as an entrepreneur that has that side hustle and they're getting started, or that person that's thinking about getting started, which one would you start with?
Depends on where you are in your business. If you haven't even, established your tax, how you're going to file your taxes, are you going to be an S corp? You're going to be an LLC? You're going to be. I mean, I would start. Whichever one's going to offer all of that to help you set up your business the way it should be set up. And also to look at what your kind of projected, what you think you're going to make, so that you can determine, what's the best way. You might be someone that knows, I'm starting out this year, but I already have contracts next year. I'm already going to be making 6 figures starting in March. So, you don't want to set up not the right way and then have to switch it midway. And then it's more expensive and all that kind of stuff. So setting up how you would set up your business, I would say get that together. Just so that it's all about trying to make sure you're lowering your tax bill,
and that's planning, right? So you have to come in knowing some projections, so they know how to guide you. If you say, I'm thinking I might generate 10,000 this year in my business, this is what I want to do. Tell me how I should set myself up to be able to accept that and to know what I need to do. So you have to do, as a CEO, some type of work on your end. You just can't walk into the accountant's office or the CPA's office and just say, I just need you to set me up. You have to do some of that back end work yourself, so they know how to guide you
exactly
in your financial situation, so that they can put you in the best position. Okay, I love it. So you talked about networking, we've talked about an accountant. So when it comes to strategy in your business, what has strategy done for you to go from one business to two? Because you're active yourself, your kids are active, your business is active. So what does strategy do for you to help control some of this chaos?
I would say streamlining and being more efficient. That's because when you do wear so many hats and you're doing so many things, there's only so much time in the day. And so when you're just every single discovery call, you're doing something different. You're like, let me write this on this. Let me do this over here. And then I follow up. What does this email them? Do they say, when you're all that wasted time, it's like all that wasted time, you could have brought in another 2 or 3 clients. So having the strategy and the systems in place just helps you work so much more efficiently. And so I know even with you, when I hired you, you came in, it was the smallest thing, but like putting my folders on my drop, like just the folders, like I use them every day where it's like, did the client say yes? And I click on that folder and everything is in there if they say yes. I don't have to waste my time. And I don't even know if you do that anymore for people. I might have just left out, but I was like, yes. So not only the strategy, but like that is something that's invaluable and we don't even think about. So you might have a kind of like a financial plan. You might have this big financial plan. Somebody puts in a binder somewhere. That's not going to help. Like nobody even knows where that is. It's going to be dusty. It's the small things like we do the check-ins 20 minutes to make sure you're actually doing what I asked you to do, or we actually get on the phone and call. That was the same thing. Like that part of like setting up my folders so that I knew where to find everything, and then taking all the junk out of the old ones and putting it in something called you don't need this anymore, but you might want it one day. Like that's just sitting there. So I wasn't stressed that I lost everything, but having that process. So I think it's being able to save time, work efficiently, and not waste time. Wasting time as a business owner is wasting money. So if you're reinventing the wheel every single time, and every single time you talk to somebody, and you don't already know what your process is, it's inefficient.
So I'm hearing repeatable steps.
Yeah.
So the things that you do over and over again, you want to get them as streamlined as possible so that you can get back to delivering great service to your clients and not spending all that idle time, and be faster in how you respond to them. So this is good because I know when you got to a certain point in your business, you gave me a call and you were like, oh my gosh, I have like all of this in my head. I need to do, I don't know what to do. And now on the outside, you wouldn't know, like, because you're getting it done and it's just like, oh wow, you can come in. So I remember coming in and seeing that you created a whiteboard in your office.
Yes, it's still here. I painted the whole wall now.
Like it started to get to where you have organized folders, that you know what you need to do. You did a brain dump. So talk about the brain dump experience and how it helped you like release to be able to get to be strategic and streamlined.
Yes, I actually just did one of those. I think it was like 6 days ago. On my wall, I have and the funny thing is I accidentally used wet erase instead of a dry erase. So now my wall is orange and I have to repaint it, but that's a whole other story. But when you dump the brain dump that I just did the other day, it's like, again, we have all these little things that are in our minds. And so it's making us think inefficiently, and as you can't focus. So I'm trying to do something or create a new offering or onboard a new plan. Like I have to really focus here. And when I have all these little things that are in your head and they're like, oh, did you do this? Did you remember to do that? Did you do that? It gets to a point where there's too many of them. And so I need to see them and I need to write them all out. And I shut down email, I shut down computer, I shut down everything. And whatever, when you're laying in bed and it all comes to your head, that's what I'm doing, but intentionally setting that time and just putting it all out there. So then I categorize it as to which part it is. So I have the columns up there and then I just put it, if it's something I need to do, CEO, I have CEO, CFP, mom. So it's like running the business, being the planner, running this house. And so I just run around the board and put them up in whatever category they're supposed to be. And I sit there and wait till I can't think of anything else. Then I'm like, okay, that's there. Put that to the side. Now go back to business.
Okay. Awesome. I love it. We have a couple comments coming in. I had Donna up there. She said, valuable tips and advice. Love it. Thank you, Donna, for tuning in. Let's see. Trina says she needs folders. So those folders that you talked about. Yes. It sounds like you talked about digital and paper, right? The ones you put in a filing cabinet and the ones that you have on your desktop, correct? Organizing those. Let's see. Brenda says, you girls are awesome. Keep up the fantastic work you do to help each other. Hey, Miss Brenda. And then we have a question. How do you create work-life balance?
Ooh, that's a good question. And actually, it depends on what we were just talking about. What does it help when you have your processes together? So I didn't realize it, but after I got my systems in order and got them together, I used to work all the time, like all the time. I work all during the day, get the kids, do all that kind of stuff. They go to bed, work again till 12, 1, 2, get up and do it again. out all night, all day, always working. And so once I got organized and was becoming more efficient, I do remember being at like 7 o'clock, okay, do dinner. And I would come back up like, I don't know if I really have much else to do. Like, I'm kind of done. I mean, you're never done. There's always something you can do. I always have, if I have 1,600 emails, but I at least was able to not work so many hours in the day. And so I think one thing, getting organized, being more efficient helps you stop working when work is over, if you will, set your hours. So as far as work-life balance, because we run our own businesses, I set my own schedule. So I know specifically, and it's not really a balance. It's never 50-50. Like either business is getting more sometimes, family's getting more sometimes. But I just start with my non-negotiables. So I don't miss field trips. I don't miss game. And that's a lot. Like, right there is a lot. I also I set my schedule, like I don't want to say vacation, but when I'm not working. So, we take summer is not a heavy load for me because my kids are home. I'm taking vacations. We're doing that. I take off the first week of school because I have 2 birthdays and the first week of school. I'm always off then. I take off from Thanksgiving to the beginning of the year. So I build that time in so that I know when I'm grinding, like I have 4 trips before Thanksgiving, like between October and mid-November, 4 trips out of state. So I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be busy. But I know as soon as Thanksgiving hits, it's family time. Like it's going to be great. I don't have to worry about it. I'm not stressing about it. So I think that's it, being organized and just being intentional about your schedule. I also don't do client appointments on Mondays and Fridays. So a lot of times schools are always off on Mondays. So It's nice to know if they have something, I can just be there or do whatever we need to do. And then I set time for doctor's appointments and all that other kind of stuff. I don't want it to get in the way of business. And my family is going to need me for some of those things. So I just make sure those are going to be on Mondays or Fridays.
Okay, awesome. So I hope that answered your question, Donna. Thank you. That is a great question. So you mentioned that systems help you be more efficient. So for some of the CEOs that are like, okay, she takes off a lot of time and she's still getting it done. What are some systems that help you streamline that you would recommend that entrepreneurs begin to integrate so they can live like you and have those days off and not work 24/7?
Oh my gosh, some of the simple things, email templates. What? Email templates will save your life. So, and as you get into your business, what you always end up responding, you're typing the same thing. So having email templates, you might have to tweak it a little bit, but knowing this is how I'm going to respond, that is super helpful. I think I use some of the technology. So using technology, Constant Contact, whatever your systems are that you use, so that you're not, you have an event coming up, you don't have to type up 10 emails and who you're going to invite, import it from your CRM, Constant Contact sends it out. There's an automation, if they respond, then you do that. Like using automation and technology together, I think is very helpful. What else? I'm telling you, email him. Jamie was just talking about, Jamie's my business partner. He was just saying we need some more templates because we're trying to follow up with folks and he's like, we need some more templates. We need templates for everything. So I need to write some more email templates.
So email templates are created out of the emails that you're always writing over and over again, right? And I'm just saying that for someone that's just tuning in and like, well, what do you mean by email templates? Those emails that you're always writing over and over again, whether you're following up on a meeting, you're sending out a proposal, you're welcoming them as a new client, you're offboarding them as a client if you find that your needs and what you can serve is no longer service them, that type of email. So any email that's reputable, you want a template for. And you can save about 20% of your time just for that. I call it the 80-20 rule. 80% the same, 20% different, and that would be the customization that you offer. So you have that personalization for that client. So they never know that it's automated.
Yeah. I still have some templates I need to make from the charts you gave because you had a template we were supposed to do for everything. It was like, okay, great. So what if they say maybe? What are you going to do? We're like, I don't know, write them back. Say, okay, so we're going to need a template for that. and we're gonna do. I'm like, okay, so yes, I'm not done with my templates, but it's definitely helping. I'm on my way. I'm getting
Well,
better.
yeah, you see the difference. See, that's the thing. That's the step. So it sounds like you're taking baby steps. So again, CEOs, entrepreneurs out there, you don't have to have a template for everything to start off. Just create a template for the things you know you need now.
Mm-hmm.
And then monitor and assess as you continue working in your business to identify what additional templates you need. And that will reduce the overwhelm. And
Yeah.
you feel like you're moving along. Okay, so systems, I love it. I love it. So you had to understand your processes though, right? So how did
Yeah.
you identify the processes that you needed?
Uh, hired you. So is that an answer? A legit answer?
Yes, that is an
Okay,
answer.
good. I'm like, I don't know. No. So I think that was I know what I'm doing. Um, I was doing a little different every time, but pretty much the same thing. But I didn't have it. If something happened to me, or if I wanted to hire someone to do what I'm doing, I had nothing. I had no manual. You go to a job. I don't think I've ever worked corporate. I guess teaching, that's not really corporate. I don't know, but I feel like we entrepreneurs, sometimes we're like, man, imagine if you like worked for a company and they like had a whole binder when you walked in and told you exactly what to do and everything was all organized. Like, wow, people do that. That would be awesome. And we have to create it ourselves. So it was really that, having that, I didn't have everything down. So I knew what I was doing. And we're so busy doing it. I don't have time to write down what I'm doing. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just going through and doing it. And so when we were working together and you're asking all those questions, I'm like, I don't know. You're like, so what happens then? Do you call? Where are you writing down their answers? What is happening next? What if they do this? What if they do that? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't think about that. I don't know. What did I do? Oh yeah, somebody just did that. So I was just saying everything that I was doing. And I think that's your magic. That's why I keep coming back and doing things. Is like, you can take everything in my head and turn it into I'm a visual learner. So I need to see flow charts and pretty. I don't like little skinny stuff. It needs to be like, it's bright, bold. Yeah, so putting everything that's in your mind, putting it in a system, and then presenting it. So I think even when we hired you for retirement plan partners, when we all came in together, it was like we knew what we wanted, and then when you gave us the draft, it was like, oh man, yeah, this is a whole system. And we're like, wait, we don't really actually do that. Let's move that. Let's cancel that out. And then working until we got it to a point where, yes, we can all agree this is the order we need to go in. And so when things happen, I remember we got that first call, like when we first started our business, we had our system and we're like, what do we do? Where's the PowerPoint? Who's supposed to respond? They're like, ah. So I was sitting there, I'm like, this is so crazy. But we had something to go back to. We're like, okay, you respond, you copy this person, you do this, you set up the folder in Dropbox. We're like, ready, set, go. Mm-hmm. So just having that guide was fun. It felt like, oh yeah, we're like a corporation. We've got stuff in order.
Yes, and you should think of yourself like that. Just because you're small, it doesn't mean that you can't operate like a large organization. And a lot of large organizations don't have it together. They look like they do, but they don't either. But the key words that you reference is two things. You have a team of people that you're working with. So someone needed to know what they needed to do and when to pass it off to someone else, right? And that's internal. So you had to develop your internal processes. But then if you wanted to hire externally, you needed to be able to communicate what the processes are to someone on the outside so they could easily just step into one of your roles or to the new role that you were providing them seamlessly and provide service. So that clearly you found worth an investment in your business, right? Because that is saving you time, and not only saving you time, but what has that done to you on the service side of your business when you're able to deliver to your clients? What have the processes done and the strategy done for you on that side when you're servicing?
Again, it's all about efficiency, and it gives you the confidence too. Like you know what's coming next, so you're not like, I'm not worried about. I don't feel like I'm worrying about clients or if they're gonna because I know exactly what my process is, and if I follow my process, I'm actually only going to attract the ideal clients that I should be working with. I can't work with everyone. And so when you don't have those filters and the system, and if you're just attracting everyone, then you're not available when your ideal client comes around, because there's only so much time in the day. And so being able to, I don't want to say weed out, but like I would just push people into a different role. And I say, some people don't need a certified financial planner. You might not need me. So we will chat. I'll meet with you. And I might say I have one of these this week, maybe later we would be a great fit. Right now, this is, you might need a coach. I think you could use a coach, like a financial coach that would do this, and that for you. Then go find you an accountant to get all that stuff together. Then we might be ready to work together. And so because I can see that when I'm asking my discovery questions, it's kind of that chart that's leading you to, okay, this is where we are. This is what you need. I'm not that right now. And in beginning of business, I think when you first start, you take everybody as a client. Like, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. Yes. And I just can't do that anymore.
Okay, so you said, so say no so you can say yes to your ideal client. That's what processes allow you to do. And you don't feel bad about it, right? Because you're allowing someone else to serve them that can serve them better, because you're not their ideal. They're not your ideal client.
Right. See, you just summarized that whole thing. See, I go blah, 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 and you're like, that is this 3 words.
But hearing it from you is great. I love it. They need to hear it from you because you're actively doing this. Let's see, Tara. Hey, Tara, thanks for joining. I love that, being able to identify your ideal client. Yes, because it evolves. And you just hit on that too, April, that when you first start, you're just trying to monetize, bottom line. You're just trying to get some money. You're trying to get it consistent. But then as you evolve, as you begin to operate in your business, then you begin to see who your ideal client really is and who you really want to service, because who you thought you wanted to service may not be who you end up servicing.
Yes.
That clarity. It gives you that clarity. Thanks for that, Tara. Okay, so you went from math teacher to entrepreneur of Pope Financial Planning, right? Now you are an entrepreneur of 2 businesses, retirement plan partners. Did I get it? Talk to us about, you didn't take the leap once, but you took the leap twice. Now you're managing 2 businesses on top of this. So talk to us about what prompted you to do that, how you're able to make that happen, managing 2 businesses, and what you do to help small business owners open up retirement plans.
Yeah, so the financial planning side, like the Pope Financial Planning, that's personal planning, personal wealth, working with individuals and families. Another one of those kind of random things, sorry, I said in the beginning, which is crazy. I think I still am, but I'm the only Black female certified financial planner in the state of Ohio.
Okay, let's celebrate that. That is, yes. Let's celebrate that.
Which is crazy to still be the first anything in 2022. And I always, every time I'm on anything or any show or any stage, I'm like, if anybody knows of another one, because there's tests there's a couple of tests every year. So I'm still waiting. There will be another here in Ohio. So as soon as that one comes about, please find me. But so as a CFP, that's what I do, is for the private side. That's, if you think of Pope Financial Planning, that's hiring individuals, or individuals hiring me. And then what we found is, and so I'm working with business owners because they need, planning, investments, rollover, all whatever regular financial planning clients need. But then what I found I love doing, so I spun into retirement plans, offering retirement plans for small businesses. So I have these small business owners. And again, I was kind of like, why don't you have a 401k? Why don't you have a simple IRA? Why don't you have a SEP? What are we doing here, folks? Why are we not doing these things? And nobody's talked to me about them. Nobody's offered these, what's going on. And then I went to a conference a few years back. It's called NAPA. It's our national conference for plan advisors. And fell in love with the concept of working on a grand scale, because as a financial planner, a CFP, not everyone can afford me. And I'm not trying to be funny about it, but like I was excluding people I wanted to help.
Okay.
And so it's the folks that would need the help, and I could help with budgeting and debt elimination, all the stuff that I love, couldn't necessarily afford to hire a financial planner. So I was feeling bad. I felt bad, like I can help these people. So then I realized, wait a minute, if I just run the retirement plan for the whole company, now they have access to me. So the company is paying me as the plan advisor. But now I do chat with a planner days. So every employee can chat with a CFP that they might not be able to hire on their own. And I loved it. And also it started being like businesses, and we work with mostly nonprofits and women-owned businesses, but businesses are 9 to 5, not 5 to 9. Like I don't have time. I also, the other thing I don't mention, this evening, like I love you. I'm doing an evening thing. Like I don't do evenings. I don't do weekends. I do not, just because of my life. And so businesses, nonprofits are working during the day. So I can get all of my work. All my meetings are during the day. I'm not meeting in the evenings. I'm like, oh, this is it. Talk about efficient.
Love it.
So we started with Retirement Plan Partners. Jamie and I started that. And the idea was, I was a Peace Corps volunteer, as you mentioned, lived in South Africa. I've volunteered. I've worked for, schools. I was a teacher. I've always done nonprofit work. Love the nonprofit and people making a change in the world. Jamie, he was a firefighter paramedic. Like he's been involved in his schools and his community. We're both like just kind of nonprofit babies that just love that. And so that's who we serve. So talk about saying no. We want to work. If you're not making a difference in the world or changing and making the world a better place, or minority or small women-owned business, we're not the fit for you. And you talk about that's hard. So there's some amazing paper companies that are, they might have a $15 million plan that we absolutely could run. But if I take that plan on, the 3 nonprofits that I'd rather be working with, I'm not going to be able to have time to work with them. So I feel like we're making a bigger difference by staying in our lane, knowing who we want to work with, and starting those first plans. The women and minority-owned businesses that do not have a plan and think they can't. Just did a breakfast workshop on that. Like they're like, I can't afford that. Some of them were $10 a year. Like, come on now, you just don't know. You don't know. You don't know. So we're trying to get that out. I think our goal was 50 or 54 new plans for women or minority-owned businesses in 2022. We need to get updated where we are. We still have some to go, but we're trying to get, I think it's 50 or 52 plans started this year.
So you referenced nonprofit, but you don't have to be a nonprofit if you are a woman, minority, small business, right?
Correct.
Love it. So I wanted to preface that for the CEOs that are listening, that you can be for-profit, minority, woman-owned business. And it's possible. So you mentioned the workshop. I attended the workshop and it was like fabulous. So for those that are just listening, just briefly give a breakdown of just high level, like the different plans. So to get these CEOs thinking that I can actually open a retirement plan for my small business.
Yeah. So I would say start with our solopreneurs, because I feel like that's who the majority of us are. One person show, you have your business, you're starting to get some traction, you're bringing in some income. There's a couple of plan options you could start. You don't have to start a full-blown 401k. But there's other little mini 401ks, if you will. So there's something called a CFP IRA, and that's a self-employment pension. That's if you're just you or your spouse. Then there's something called a simple IRA. Maybe you have a few employees, under 100 is what you have to have, which is the majority of who we work with. So that one might be, if you at least have some employees, the STEP's not going to work for you, so you can move to the simple. That's kind of like your startup plan. You're like, all right, let me get into the habit of having a retirement plan, figuring out how it works with payroll and all that kind of stuff. And we have people that are going to be able to do that for you. You can outsource anything that's not in your gift house. So you should be working in your gift, outsource the rest. So that will be the simple plan. And they have limits of how much you can put away, about $14,000 for this year, if you're under 50. And then if you really, the 401k comes, and they're solo 401ks. You can be one person inside of a 401k. So some of our business owners who are making over 100,000, 200,000, whatever it is, they need to put a big chunk away. So when I talk to their tax advisor or their CPA,
Oh, could you
and I
talk to
already,
them? Okay,
yes,
collaboration, love it.
yes, yes. So I get a lot of calls from the accountants and CPAs like, oh, so and so 50,000 last year. Like, so that if you owe 50, you clearly made more than 50, and you need to be putting some of that away. So opening those plans. And so if you want to put away 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, up to 61,000 that you can put away, if you need that much put into a plan that's going to remove it from your income. And then remember, you can also match yourself and write that off as a business expense. I mean, there are just ways. Yes,
Jim,
you're like
drop
putting
the
your own money in, matching yourself, writing it off. It's all about saving those dollars. So yeah, those are really what we do. From one person to, I mean, my biggest plan probably has 700 employees. So 700, it doesn't matter.
And it's
1,000.
affordable. I love it. I
Yes.
love it. So, are there any revenue minimums that you should be making if you're thinking about a solo 401k or anything like that for people getting started thinking that they need to do something?
I don't know if there's necessarily a revenue minimum. It's kind of like, I think once you have your ducks in a row and you're organized and you're paying yourself, even if it's not W-2, but you're paying yourself monthly or however you want to pay yourself. Once you start putting that money aside, that's when it's kind of like, if I'm paying myself, pay into my plan. When I start paying myself, pay into my plan. So if you're not making enough to bring home anything, it might not be the time yet. When you start bringing home money, and it takes a minute where you put everything back into the business. If you're still at that point, put stuff back into the business. When you start giving yourself money, that's when it's time. That's when it's time. Even if that is $300 a month that you're giving yourself, it doesn't have to be a huge salary, but
Good point.
put 50 of it into your retirement account.
That matters because that accumulates over time, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's why they need someone like you and an accountant or a CPA to be able to work together to guide. So, entrepreneurs, it's about the planning, right? They help you plan to know what you need to prepare for. I love it. If there are any questions, please drop them in the chat. Let me look at the comments here. Okay, so this is going back to when you said that you were the only minority certified financial planner in Ohio. Yes.
Black female.
Black.
We have
female.
some males. We have some male. We have some black males.
Okay.
Yes, black female.
So Trina says, yes, great job. I want to give you your kudos and your flowers now, April. So I'm going through these comments. Trina says, stop. Or Tara says, stop. Awesomeness. Okay. And then Craig, we know who that is.
Hi, Craig.
Gave you a clap, clap. Love it. And Tara says, love the note on outsourcing contracts. So if you're not in your zone of genius or doing what you like to do, definitely outsource. It's worth the investment. And my caveat to that is we spend as entrepreneurs so much time learning and taking classes. We could actually have used that revenue and outsourced to actually get it done to generate.
Yes. Yes.
So knowing when to stop the learning and saying this is just not for me and hiring someone to be able to do that.
Yes, absolutely.
And then we know who this is. Your mom. Way to go, daughters. Mom, I love mom. Hey. All right. So we are approaching the 60-minute mark, and I want to give opportunity for any last minute questions before we close out this segment. April, this has been wonderful. You dropped a lot of gems to help our CEOs understand what strategy has done for you to help you launch 2 successful businesses, assist with that work-life balance, because you are active in your own right yourself, but then you are an active mom and wife in your business, and some of those boundaries that you have put into place so that you're not working 24/7 and being more intentional and streamlined in your business. You talked about that you got a coach to get started, getting an accountant, networking people, and paying membership dues into networking organizations such as the Chamber, Cincinnati Chamber, as well as the African American Chamber, and how they have helped you in your business. And networking to generate business, would you say as well?
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. And what do you get from that? because there's a question mark on, do I want to pay dues for that? So can you just share what have been some of the benefits that you received from being members of those two organizations?
Um, I'm thinking about we were at Hamilton last night, and I love me some Hamilton, but being in the room where it happened, any Hamilton fans on here? But it allows you to be in the room where it happened. Like, so even if you don't know, maybe not going to take the class or whatever, but going to all of the events that they have, business owners are there. So depending on who your client is, if you're a B2B, then you want to be around business owners. There's also other regular networking events if you're looking for individuals. So allowing you to be in the room where it happens, being in all those events, all the chamber sponsored events that are networking downtown, whether there's a chamber, whatever it is, getting yourself a seat at the table.
Awesome. Okay, I love it. Getting a seat at the table. All right. Okay, so there aren't. Here is one, but Tara, in the room where it happens. Yes, we have to think differently. Networking is very important, but intentional networking. Networking, definitely. So, the last question before we close out: what would you tell your younger self starting out as an entrepreneur? That what did you not know then that you know now? So what would you tell your younger self when it comes to starting a business? What would you do differently? What would you tell the young Apryl to do?
So many things. I would probably say follow what you love doing, the money's going to come. Because we think we're going to chase this or whatever, this service is going to give me more, and where your real passion is, follow that, the money will come. The money will come. So it's really hard to be passionate and grow a business in something that you just kind of like. So if you just kind of like a certain part of your business and you're thinking, but there's probably a good ROI on this, like there's good return on investment. If it's not what you love and have a passion about doing, you're going to burn out, because if you run a business, there's burnout is real. Mm-hmm. So stick with what you love doing, and then outsource the rest. Outsource the rest.
Love it. You heard it from Apryl, folks. You heard it from Apryl. So here's how you can reach out and connect with Apryl if you are her target audience, right? Here is her contact information to set up a discovery call to learn a little bit more about her and what she does. There is her website. And then if you want to get connected with her on Facebook or on LinkedIn, there is her information. So we're going to leave that up on the screen so that you all can grab that information. Let's see. Tara says, this is really so good. Great. Awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for being on.
So I want to thank you, Apryl, for your time and allowing me to invade your evening. I do consider myself special that you allowed me in, that you shared, and you were very transparent with your journey and what you have done to be successful and have that freedom so that you can raise and interact with your beautiful boys that you have without sacrificing your business. CEOs, it can be done. It can be done. You just have to be intentional and you have to focus. So I want to thank you so much for your time. Javaka says, thanks so much. Good info. Information is there. Please put #replay down in the box if you're going to watch the replay on this. And at that, I am going to close this out. And as always, I want you to stay strategic.